today.
That's all right. Well, we're live on YouTube now, so you got it, Ben?
All right, I'm just printing one more thing and I'll be ready.
Okay. Ben, you got it, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get started. Sorry, I've had quite the busy day, so just trying to catch up now. I did not receive any public comment. Sorry, we'll start with the roll call. Alderman Bilotto.
He's not here, Kevin.
Fred's not here. All right. Alderman Klinker.
Here.
Alderman Alexander.
Here.
Alderman Johnson.
Here.
Alderman Donahue's here. All right, we have a quorum. I will have our minutes from last meeting and this meeting for us next week. Again, my apologies. Citizen concerns, I did not receive any, so there's no public comment. Moving on. First is payroll for 6/12/2020 in the amount of $376,753.73. Any questions for the payroll? No. Is there a motion to approve the payroll?
Yeah, Klinker will make the motion.
I'll second.
Alderman Klinker, thank you. All right, there'll be a motion and a second. All in favor of approving the payroll signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay.
Kevin, if I may real quick, also in the room is Jim Postro, Mark Scarlato, Eric Alvarez, Howard Kapari, Paul Hollick, and Bernie Arzab, and Kerry Horvath.
Great, thank you, clerk. Were there any nays? I'm sorry. All right, motion carried, unanimous. Next, is Topeka on the line?
No, but Alderman Bilotto just checked in.
All right, hi Fred, welcome Fred. So no Topeka?
Not at this time.
All right, because I wanted to, before we did the accounts payable, I wanted to go over her revenue analysis that she sent us. So, all right, well, I guess we'll come back to that. Accounts payable.
Chairman, it's a lot of the phone services have been having issues for the next 4 hours as well. The last 4 hours.
I'm sorry. Can you say that again? I didn't hear the first.
A lot of the phone networks been having issues for the last 4 hours.
Oh, okay.
So might be having
that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that heads up, Dex. All right. Accounts payable for week ending 6/24/2020. Amount of $504,233.44. Are there any questions? And I'll do my best to answer best I can.
Yeah, I got a couple, Kevin.
Sure, go ahead, Alderman.
So page 6, I just noticed there's a few things we're already over budget on. Page 6, Greenfields. I'm sorry. The vacant property maintenance. I wish Topeka was here. I just was, because it says they're approved by Topeka. I'm just curious what we're doing and why we're already over budget. And then on page 7, Illinois Fire Board up is another one that's over budget. We're not even through June yet. So I was kind of hoping she was here. So maybe she'll jump in here in a little bit and can answer that. But that's a concern if we're already over budget in items, you know?
Right. No, I agree completely. And Jim, what was the other one you said? You said Illinois Fire Restoration?
Yeah, and Greenfields on page 6.
Sure.
Greenfields Landscape. And then the only other question I had was, it's on page 13. It's for Cisco for food for resale. The golf course isn't open, right? I mean, they're open, but they're not serving food or anything. I was just wondering why we're spending $1,100 on food.
I'm sorry, Jim. They started selling food on the 29th, I think, whenever we went into phase phase
Okay.
3.
All right, I was unaware.
Whatever that Friday was.
So they're letting people inside the golf course and everything then too?
No, everyone, they just have the patio set up. They got a real nice setup out there.
Okay,
right now.
all right, that's all. I was just wondering why we were buying it if we weren't selling it. If we're selling it, that's fine. That's all I got.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I've been on over there. They've had a couple of good crowds, people buying hot dogs, brats, burgers.
Okay.
But they just started, like I said, 2.5 weeks ago.
All right, thanks. That's it for me.
This is Alderman Johnson.
Oh.
Is it possible, or will it hurt us to kind of like table those two entities Klinker was talking about till next Monday, or no?
Yeah, I'm fine pulling those. I just want to make sure I have the right amount. Greenfields is $4,100, and then Illinois Fire, Jim, it's $600. Is that correct?
Hang on a second. I'm looking it up, Kevin.
360. I don't know why I got 600.
I have a feeling there's no budget for it and you get reimbursed for that at the end. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's how that works. Mark Miller would have the answer.
That's fine. We'll just, because we're going to meet again next Monday, so we'll just pull it this time.
Yeah, it's
all right,
360 for Illinois Fire.
360. All right, thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, Kevin, I have some questions.
Sure, go ahead, Annette.
So I'm looking at AT&T, and I know I saw an email from, was it Paul? Regarding
Paul's
changing.
on the line too, so.
Okay, I thought I saw an email from him saying we were going to change phone services. So I just want to know, when was that going to take effect? And is the AT&T bill that we have for this month comparable to previous months?
Hey, Paul, could you maybe explain what you sent in your email and kind of the timeline or the rollout of what you're expecting with that?
Sure. So I provided a quote from Lingo that's going to save us a minimum of 40% from what we're currently paying right now to AT&T. There's no downtime for the switch. I just need to know who can sign off on that so that we could get the ball rolling. It'll take approximately 7 to 14 business days for us to migrate those lines over, and then we will start to see a savings. So that's what I had sent in the email. Once we migrate the lines, they'll provide us a report, a usage report. And for the lines that we do not have any usage for, the rule of thumb is about 30 to 60 days. We can start to cancel without penalty, which is great. So that's what I provided.
All right, so I think we'll probably have to put it on the agenda for next week so we can approve it. And then we can move forward from there. So I'll make sure Topeka has it on the agenda for next week's or finance committee meeting.
Great.
Annette, anything else?
Yes. So Cargill, maybe Jim know this answer. I know we're buying salt, but why are we buying salt right now?
Mr. Postal, can you answer that question, please?
Sure. Well, every year, every season, we go into a contract. We are on a state bid, and a lot of municipalities and join in on the state biddings to get a cheapest price we could possibly get. So what it is that we have to agree to take an 80% of what we order. We ordered 2,000 ton, so 80% was 1,600 tons, and we can go up to 120. If it's a real harsh winter. So we had to meet the minimum, which was the 80%. We had a very mild winter this year. As far as we try to really hold the salt the best we can. So anyway, so at the end we had to complete the 80%. So that's why there was an order.
Okay, so this is the last part of the 80% of the salt.
Correct.
Last year.
We had to satisfy the minimum requirement, and we did satisfy that, and we got it in storage for next year.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, also Constellation, that's the new energy provider that we have now?
I'm not sure.
I think that's for electric, for like our street lights and stuff.
Right, I'm saying that's a new provider for us. I don't remember seeing this before, that's why I'm asking.
I believe it's something that Mike Marzell went into, I don't know, a year or two ago. Or something. But he did change electric for the streetlights and all that.
Okay. So Kevin, do you recall seeing this every month?
I recall seeing Constellation Energy before.
Okay. Okay. Also, Decker. Does this have anything to do with the project that was being done on 119th or no?
It says repair vault at
What's the dollar amount? I
119th
can
in
probably answer
Washington. Jim, can you?
1540.
No, it's
Hey, which one is it? No, what's it?
The Dexter brothers, they repaired the vault on Washington Street.
Okay, there was a valve vault on 119th in Washington that was completely eroded away, and we had them go out there to repair it, and it's repaired at this point.
Okay, so that's something separate from the project. They had nothing to do with something that should have been taken care of with the project?
I don't know what other project you're referring
This
to.
is the project, he's referring to the project that got bundled.
Oh, no,
last year.
119th in Vincennes and 119th in Western. It's a
Longwood, right.
no, it's totally different, separate.
Okay,
Yeah, this was a repair on a valve vault. Yeah, not the meter vault that the Chicago Water comes in. Those are
Okay.
separate, yeah, so.
okay. And then Hughes Enterprise, it says account final credit on account. What is this? Do you know, Kevin?
Hughes Enterprise. I'm not sure what that is.
It sounds like satellite, right?
I don't know. I don't account final credit.
That's out of the water fund. It's account 520, which is water, right?
What was the vendor?
Hughes Enterprise.
Who signed up?
It just says account finals, credit on account, and it's and Jim's right. It's coming out of the water fund, $9,000.
I can't recall right now. I don't know what that is.
All right. Well,
it's a credit.
it says account finals, credit on account, and then but we're paying $9,000 for it. Almost 10,000.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and pull that one too until we
Yeah,
can just
I don't know
get
what that
some
is
further
either.
information.
yeah.
It's Hughes, like the satellite company, right? Is that what you're talking about? Like Howard Hughes?
Like Howard Hughes, but it's a water account expense though. So
Yeah.
whenever we'll ask just to peek at it, pull the invoice tomorrow so we can see what it is.
Right.
Okay, and then my last one is Servicescape. I know this is for the golf course maintenance, but is this something that they do every month that we have to pay this, or how is that maintenance contract?
It's every month, but then we're paying a reduced rate too now. But they don't operate in the winter, so it's just under like 5-6 months out of the year.
Okay. Okay, that's it for me.
All right. Any other questions? Hey, Carrie, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
I have a question in your invoicing. Just under professional services, it's 20-728-Finance Committee. I'm just curious who asked you to do this first one and then the last one.
Is that the April invoice?
Yeah, it's the April invoice. It says prepare for finance committee meeting, review spreadsheets prepared by finance director regarding part-time employees working in various city departments, review information provided by the by email volunteer to support request for payment, and attend finance committee conducted remotely. And then my other question on here is the last one in this one, and it's review materials prepared by finance director regarding revenues and expenses, prepare and attend finance committee meeting conducted remotely. So again, my question is just who asked you to review the materials prepared by the finance director?
The finance committee asked me to conduct the review with respect to the part-time employees. Where is that? I'm looking at the bill. I'm trying to locate it specifically.
It's on page 15, the second to last item on page 15.
All right. What's the file,
Really,
Kevin, does it have a number on it? My copy of the bill is a little different than what you have.
Sure. So
When I say
it
that.
says, the number it says is 20-728.
728?
728, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, that's for April?
It is the April billing invoice, and the dates on it are 4/6 and 4/27 of this year.
Well, with respect to the subject of the part-time employees, I was asked by the finance committee, I'm trying to recall who specifically requested that. Let me look at my notes of the finance committee meeting, okay?
Sure. Well, and here, I'll be more specific though, like I'm just curious, the review spreadsheets prepared by finance director and review materials prepared by the finance director. Just who gave the direction that they needed this reviewed by you is my question.
Finance
Since we're being billed for it.
The finance director.
The finance director did, okay. I'll ask Topeka about that. All right, thank you.
Often Topeka has questions with respect to matters, and she'll contact me, and we will discuss it. I don't review anything that she submits unless she inquires of it, okay?
Got it. That's all right, just double checking. All right, any other questions for this accounts payable?
Alderman Donahue, this is Alderman Bilotto.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to, I agree. I think someone mentioned it earlier. Anything that's over budget, even if we just didn't catch it now, anything that's over budget, we shouldn't be paying. So I want to make that part of a motion for accounts payable.
I think, yeah, and unless we missed one, I think the two were the only ones on there, unless there was one that was missed.
Yeah, and then we'd have to move money later on to cover those issues, just like for the fire and police chief raises. I want to make sure we're dotting the I's and crossing the T's kind of thing.
Right. All right, 1 second, let me just add up this new amount. All right, so the new amount with those 3 items removed is $489,865.96. Is there a motion to approve the accounts payable?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second? Alderman Alexander, all right, thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the accounts payable signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, say nay.
No.
4 ayes and 1 nay. Thank you. All right, moving on. We have the paradigm update on services rendered. I know we just heard from Paul real quick, but Paul, if you wanted to give us an update on what's been going on, the floor is yours, sir.
Sure. I just was in communication with Topeka. She thought it'd be a good idea for me to join. The last few meetings, I believe there's been questions from the committee. So I'm here and available. I know there was an issue with the January invoice. There was just a double entry that was revised and sent back to Topeka, but she said that it wasn't approved because there were questions. So I'm just curious of what the questions were.
Sure. I believe Alderman Alexander, you had a couple of questions if you wanted to. We wanted to go over those now while we got Paul on the line.
Okay, I'm looking at it now. I know, I don't know if my question was pertaining to that invoice, but my question was pertaining to the request that we had made of Paul, which was we wanted to get a complete list of computers and laptops and who had them. We also wanted to get a complete list of the phone lines and who desk those phones were on, those lines were on. And I know we haven't gotten that yet.
So I thought we had the computer list.
Yeah, hang on. I can clear that up. This is Jim Klinker. So Annette, he did send the computer one out, and I actually took it upon myself to email all the department heads to make sure that they got what was on his list and it all matched up. I thought I sent that all to you guys, or I thought I verbally told you guys, but computers are good. I think the problem, Paul, is
even with the ones that were saying extra.
Yeah, I'll look through my emails again. I thought I sent it to you, but they came up to the 41 or whatever the number there was. They're all present and accounted for. I literally got a list from Jim Polstrel, fire chief, police chief, when Don Marchbanks was still doing that stuff. That's how long ago that I got this from him, and I apologize. I thought I sent it off to all you guys to let you know that was straightened out. But I think that the current problem or issue, Paul, is and I don't know how much this got relayed to you since last year. I personally have been asking why our phone bills are all over the place since last May when I first got on the finance committee, and we can't seem to get an answer. We went through Marzell.
Sure.
Yeah, and Comcast too, but I don't know if that's his deal. But so the issue was, and I'm glad that you did this study or whatever, because it looks like we're going to save money. I wish we had done this study a year ago when I first started asking about it, but I think that's part of why we held up paying the bill.
Sure. All right. So real quick, I'll just give you guys a history here. Okay. So I don't have, like, I'm not responsible for like AT&T invoicing or anything like that, right? These lines and phone numbers have been with the city forever. Okay. Over the years, they have been cleaned up. I think when I first came in 2013, Randy had done a study with a company called Spyglass. There were a bunch of lines that were terminated and then giving the city a savings, so on and so forth. AT&T, the reason to answer the question of why are some months the bills higher than they are in different months, or there's spikes, so on and so forth. It's all based on usage. It's also based on the fact that AT&T does not want to be in the landline business anymore. So they have tripled the cost of all of their landlines. That's just what they've done across the United States, period. It doesn't matter who the customer is, doesn't how much, if it's government or private or whatever the case may be, they're just outrageously expensive when it comes to their infrastructure that they don't want to maintain any longer. So I've done this review before when Mike was here, and we tried to move over to Birch, but Birch failed as an entity. And then we were going to move over to Granite, and all of that paperwork was with Mike, and we were just kind of waiting. I don't know if it was, I'm assuming it was a holdup with Mike at the time, so on and so forth. So in the last couple of months, I went and did an evaluation with Lingo to compare to Granite, to compare to Birch, who went under as a company, and Lingo had the best pricing. So that's what I had sent you guys. As far as Comcast goes, Comcast is providing us the government rate at all of our locations for internet connectivity. That bill should not, now let's keep in mind, Comcast doesn't send just one bill, just like AT&T doesn't send one bill. They send tens, 25 bills a month. That's just how they operate. One or multiple for each location, so on and so forth. Comcast shouldn't be moving. Shouldn't be going up or down. If it is, then there's an issue, and either Pam or Topeka can come to me, and I am happy to assist. But from Comcast right now, our services are either internet or television. I know the 911 center had television at the time. I don't know that we still have it there. I know the golf course has Comcast TV for the clubhouse. Outside of that, I think that's it. So that's what I know. That's what I can help you with. Any other questions?
No, those were my questions. Like I said, like Alderman Klinker was saying, you know, the bills were all over the place, and we kept trying to get someone to look into those companies, and no one was able to look into the companies to find out exactly what the issue is. So yes, we definitely need someone to go over those bills, because like you say, they should only have like internet or Comcast TV, and the bills should be basically the same across the board every month, but it's not. It's different internet prices for different departments and all of that. So we need someone to look into that.
I'm happy to review those on a monthly basis if Topeka sends them over, if she gathers them and sends them over and I can review them. I have no problem doing that. But again, that's something different. That's not, you know, Topeka had mentioned that the January invoice for Paradigm wasn't getting paid because of these questions. And the January invoice, or any invoice for that matter, isn't really tied to AT&T or Comcast. But again, I can, if Topeka wants to send them to me, I'm more than happy to review them to make sure that they jive with what we're supposed to be getting.
Okay, well, if you're not the one that handle those type of issues, I guess the question is, who's responsible for that? Because we need to have someone looking at these bills on a monthly basis to make sure that we're paying what we're supposed to be paying.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's always been the finance director position, to review those bills. When Matt Anastasia was there, when Mike Marzell was there, they were reviewing those to see if there was any spikes. If they had questions, they would, you know, they were more than welcome to come to me, but it was never my position to review them. But again, I'm happy to do so that we're not paying a penny more than what needs to get paid.
Okay, well, I'll address those issues with Topeka since she is the new director. And if she needs your assistance, I'm sure she'll reach out, but I'll make sure we'll talk with her to make sure she takes care of that.
Perfect.
All right, anything else for Mr. Holick?
I'm good.
No, all right. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Yeah, moving on, police officer hiring. I think I saw Chief Arzab on the line. Chief, if you're there.
Yes, this is Chief Arzab. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right, yeah, thank you, Alderman. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. I just wanted to give the committee an update on the staffing levels as it pertains to our full-time officers. Just to give you a little history, realistically, our full-time staff should be in the mid-40s, but over the years, that number has been slowly declining for whatever reasons. But most recently, in 2019 appropriations, our full-time number was at 37, and we have been attempting to maintain that number throughout 2020, which to stay afloat, it's the number we should try to at least maintain. But unfortunately, right now we are at 31. Now keep in mind that 37 also includes the positions of the chief, the deputy chief, the admin sergeant, the detective division, and the entire patrol division. So why we are down to 31? Obviously, as we have spoken before, no deputy chief, and we still have an officer on an on-duty injury. We have an officer earlier this year that went off on disability. And then we did have in April, we had Officer Stamer that retired. And unfortunately, but happy for them, within the last week and a half, we had also retirements of Officer Carlos Ortega and Officer John McSweeney. And they have retired effective immediately within the last week and a half or so. I'm very happy for them. I want to thank them for their great service to the community and to the police department. So that's why we're at 31 right now as opposed to 37. So with that being said, and anticipation of the potential of up to possibly 4 more full-time officers retiring at any time, I am in the process of hiring 2 officers from our eligibility list. The academies have recently announced that they are reopening, and although we could not reserve any spots in the June academy, we have been able to reserve 2 spots in the September academy. So it's going to take a little time to update their background checks and do the, everything that it takes to actually hire the officers and get them ready for the academy. They're going to be in the academy for 560 hours, which is about 12 to 14 weeks, and then through their field training program. So you're looking at, once we hire these 2 officers, you're looking at actually being able to add them to the staffing is probably beginning of next spring, once they get through all of this. So right now, our artery is bleeding right now, and it's going to be, it's a public safety issue. The mayor and the Civil Service Commission has already approved me to hire 4 officers at this time. And like I said, I was able to get 2 places in the next academy in September to hire 2 officers. So I just wanted to update you guys, the Finance Committee, on where we're at full-time.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate the
thanks.
update. Any questions or comments from members of the committee?
No, I'm good.
No?
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Chief Arzab. All right, so we have the revenue analysis. It would be good if Topeka was on the line for this, because this is her document, so we could go over it with her or ask her questions about it. So maybe next week we'll do this again, and hopefully she'll be here. So I hope she's not here because of the rumor I heard that the mayor said staff can't talk to aldermen anymore. Because if so, that's really unfortunate, because there's a lot of work that needs to get done, and there's a lot of questions that need to be asked. And we saw what happened when Mr. Marzal was refusing to participate and work with the committee. So I just hope that's just not true. So I just want to make that comment on that. So, all right. We'll revisit this next week on the 22nd. All right. Revised contract, Riz Pest Management, Inc. I believe this is Mr. Kapari. Howard, if you're on the line, please go ahead.
Hi, this is Howard. So the Municipal Services Committee reviewed 3 companies, and they narrowed it down to 2, and then they decided to go with Grizz Pest Management Incorporated for regular rodent complaints at a micro level. So the documents that I submitted to Topeka late last week represent what he's charging.
Can you just say what that amount is? I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me right now because I can't pull up my stuff on my city email.
Okay, I'll just mention it. So what it comes down to is because this came about from neighbors complaining, and they want the city to do some type of rodent abatement. So at the micro level, Andy Novinger, who's the owner of this company. If he goes out to do one visit, he charges $75 to set up the traps and to determine how many visits and report his findings to the city and the resident. If he does 2 visits, it's $125. If he does 3 visits, it's $175. 4 visits is $225. I spoke with him on Friday of last week, and he says probably 2 or 3 visits would suffice for a regular rodent complaint. He provides the trap and the bait, so it wouldn't be something that the city would have to purchase.
Okay. Any questions?
Alderman Donahue, is this already in the budget, or we have to find money to cover this? I support the idea. I'm just trying to find out where we, is there a line item we're pulling this from?
This is Howard. Not that I'm aware of. I got involved because Alderman Klinker mentioned to Alderwoman Candace Carr for someone for the city to come up with some kind of a rodent abatement plan. So I looked at it at the micro level and at the macro level, which is the municipality. Participating in 3 municipal services meetings, it came down to, because of the cost factor, we're just doing micro, and they're just rodents, individual complaints from a neighbor. So this would have to come from the general budget.
All right. So let's see if we could find money in the budget during this next week to move around, if there's somewhere we could cut. And I'll have Topeka work on that as well, if that's okay with everybody.
I agree. This is something that we've talked about for way too long. And along with the chicken thing, I'm working on a community development that I sent to judiciary. We just get this stuff done. I mean, and we need to find the money for this. It's not a lot of money. Let's just.
All right, is everyone okay with that? We'll just hold this off till 6:22, just so we can see where we're gonna take money from.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that works.
Right.
We just, like Fred just said, we need to get this done. It's been literally over a year that I was talking to Brian Polis about this over a year ago, and nothing got done. And these people still have rats in their neighborhood. So we really do need to find out where we're going to pay for it and make this happen.
Right. No, I agree. I have an issue behind me that I'd love to have it taken care of. But I just want to make sure we're doing it right with the budget. So let's just hold off a week and we'll readdress this on the 22nd. Cool. All right.
I got a question towards that,
Go ahead, Alderman.
Chairman. On the south side of the Libby's building, I noticed, man, they just got like giant piles. I don't even know what it is of stuff, and I think it's coming from affordable housing, dumping stuff back there. So, because I know we're trying to get acquire the building, are we in lieu of paying for that too? That's all I'm asking.
Alderman, I don't know. Is that
Probably. This is
Yeah.
Howard. Probably
Howard.
not. What the municipal services has agreed is for residential complaints, they understand that businesses should have their rodent abatement program in place for their businesses, so they would have to pay for their own trapping and capturing of rodents. Now, the situation with Libby is we're not allowed to communicate with them because we're in some kind of a lawsuit, so that's a very touchy issue.
All right.
Thank you, Howard. But I was just, wanting to know, man, because I had got on them a couple of years ago that they was dumping stuff over there at Mother of Sorrows, man, and they had rats the size of like chihuahuas going in people's houses and things. So we got, made them get rid of it. But and I was only asking about that. I just didn't want it to, be on our behalf of paying and things.
Right, and technically, we're not allowed to trespass on either of their properties. So we're not even allowed to even go onto the properties.
No, this is Kerry. Well, what I'll do is I'll talk with Leslie Kennedy tomorrow and have her contact the lawyer that represents affordable in its bankruptcy proceeding to learn as much as she can concerning this matter. But we are not precluded from any type of inspection that might be required if we've been notified that there is a health safety issue, which I think would include matters concerning the potential for rodent infestation. So let me follow up with Leslie tomorrow, and then we'll let you know what we can find out, Alderman Johnson, about these piles, but also get some more information concerning whether we can work something out to get someone in there to take a look at as to whether there's rat infestation or any type of health safety issue. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else regarding this? All right. Thank you, Howard. We'll talk next week. I know we don't have it on the agenda, but in our packet we have the business district stuff, so we'll just do that next Monday as well.
Donahue, it was already in the accounts payable, so we approved it in there unless you want separate motions.
Oh, I didn't realize it was on the accounts payable.
I caught that stuff in there just when I was going through it. So.
All right. Well, just so everyone knows, it's the reimbursement to Eagles, reimbursement to Flowers by Kathy, and was there one more, Fred?
That's the only two for this meeting. That's the only one that we were 100% done with.
And these are the business district reimbursements out of the facade grant program. In the packet, there was a nice memos that Howard put together explaining the entire process. So,
yeah, roughly, Chairman, there was in that line item of that fund, there's excess of $200,000, and the Eagles is like an $8,000 rebate, and the Kathy's Flowers is like $3,300 or so. Both for tuck pointing, both work has been completed satisfactory by billing department. And especially for the Eagles, it's been several months. They've been waiting for this, and with the COVID stuff and everything. So that's why I was happy to get this out to them, especially with their bar being closed for so long.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. I didn't realize we already did it in the accounts payable. Easy. All right. Next, we have three items. Next three items. First is funding commitment resolution for Division Street reconstruction. This is from Vermont Street to the Division Street Bridge, and then the Division Street Bridge to Broadway Street. Eric, if you wanted to go into a little bit more detail on this one, where's yours, sir?
Sure. Thank you, Alderman. Yeah, that's exactly right. So you've got all the details of the project correct. So this is a long-term project that we've been coordinating since, I think, 2016. And it's basically going to use 80% federal funds to reconstruct Division Street. What we need to do in order to keep the project moving forward is to pass a resolution committing to the use of local funds for the project. So I don't know if you saw, there's a little bit of a cash flow spreadsheet that I sent through showing like a likely scenario for when those payments of the local match would be due. But bottom line is, it's like 80% federal funding. And to keep that project moving forward, we need to give to Southwest Conference of Mayors a commitment that Blue Island will pay the local match.
And part of this is in a TIF too, correct?
That this is completely TIF funded.
Yes.
Alderman Donahue out of TIF 5.
Just for everyone.
Alderman Donahue, you have a question?
Go ahead, Alderman Bilotto.
And I think this has been clarified a few years ago. Eric, is there any reason why we can't exceed the boundary between Vermont and Broadway? Let's say we wanted to go north on past Vermont and south past Broadway, because those sections are also pretty bad, if not worse. Is there a reason why we can't include a few blocks more if we're going to have the machinery out there anyway?
Well, we could do that. I don't know if we would have to use a separate contract or if we could add it to this, but just use the local funds. It's just that the STP, so the federal funds, Surface Transportation Program funds, will only cover between Vermont and Broadway, and then the TIF funds can do whatever extent we decide.
Well, that's fine. That answered the question then. So yeah, this is just between connecting the two thoroughfares together.
Exactly. Yep.
And this is going to redo all the sidewalk that's messed up there too. on both
And
sides.
does it
of
make the
correct?
bridge accessible then?
Alderman Donahue, yes, this would repair any sidewalk that was out of spec. And that would get picked up during like a detailed survey. So once the agreement's done.
Mhm.
So Eric, that would be, Division Street right now is not accessible. It's steps on the north side of the bridge on both sides of the street. So that would make the bridge accessible, correct?
Exactly, Alderman. Those steps would go.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
All right, and then Eric, what would be I'm just curious, what's the engineering cost to the city for 2020?
Okay, the engineering cost for 2020, let me get it here. So I just pulled up my cash flow. Just give me 1 second. In 2020, the earliest and most I would expect the engineering cost would be out of the local TIF funds is approximately $15,000. And that assumes that we get the agreements back from Springfield in August, which is like, that's a little bit of a shot in the dark. That's kind of like my earliest, the earliest I could see those agreements coming back from Springfield.
All right. Any other questions? I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve this.
Bilotto seconds.
Fred with the second. All right. All in favor of approving signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right, guys have it unanimously. Thank you. All right, next, Eric, if you want me to keep going, funding. The next is funding commitment resolution for Western Avenue two-way conversion. This is something, though, that you're not expecting to happen for 5 to 7 years. Is that correct?
That's correct, Alderman. This project is another surface transportation program federal project that we're working with the Southwest Conference of Mayors on, and it's quite a long-term project. So this isn't divided up into months in the cash flow spreadsheet for that reason, because these federal projects can take some time, and this is kind of like the earliest reasonable schedule for cash flow purposes. Yep. Did that answer the question? Okay.
Yeah, and then just one more, same thing. What would be the engineering costs for 2020 if there was one?
They would almost, Alderman, they would almost certainly be like zero, or just, miscellaneous coordination with Southwest Conference of Mayors, like, for example, this resolution. So I don't really have a number for it, but it would be tiny and it would be out of the TIF.
Cool.
I mean, I could give you a number, like, if you want a number way less than 5K, but just miscellaneous stuff.
Got it. All right. Any other questions regarding item number I?
Yes, Chairman, this is Johnson. I was wondering, did we do a survey or ask like the retailers that's on Western about the two-way? Would it be more, just as an outsider, it seemed like it would be a good idea for to have two-way traffic. But have we took a survey to ask the store owners?
Alderman Donahue can answer that.
Yeah, go ahead, Chairman, or Fred, sorry.
Alderman Johnson, as community development chair, over the years, I know there's been surveys done. Overwhelmingly, the businesses would prefer two ways if it could be done. It would have, they would get twice the amount of views. So you're just getting southbound traffic right now. It would slow down the street. So I would say the last time we did a survey, I don't know if the chamber did one 2 years ago or so, 2 or 3 years ago. We were in office when it was done. It was overwhelmingly the businesses preferred to two-way. We always knew this would probably never happen because the amount, but if there's grants, they're going to cover 80% of it by all means. I think it's something we can look into doing.
Yeah, Alderman Bilotto, I remember that, but I wasn't sure of how the survey went. But it would only make sense to me. But of course, I don't have a store on that block, so on the street. So that's cool. Thank you.
All right. Anything else?
Alderman Donahue, I did have one more thing to note.
Sure.
So Blue Island applied for this SDP funds in April to do this Western Avenue two-way conversion, and currently that project is number 4 on the list for that call for projects, so we're quite high up there. But this isn't like a guarantee that's funding guaranteed. This is just to move, so that, like, this is a step that we need to take so that that they would approve it if they're going to approve it. So I don't want anybody to think that we have that money or it's secured or anything like that. It's just that we're in the running. In my opinion, we're quite well placed, but we don't have it yet.
And Alderman Donahue, I have one additional comment
Yeah,
from
go ahead,
my
Alderman.
experience with it. And I'm not sure if it still exists, or maybe they were talking about the $2 million. But Eric, wasn't it at a time a few years back when this was first discussed, the South Suburban mayors and managers put aside money to help us with our 20% match? Did you hear any of that stuff?
As far as helping us with our match, no, I haven't heard of any. I haven't heard of any funding to. No, I guess, sorry, to answer your question, Alderman Bilotto, I haven't heard of any money set aside to help with the match. And this is going through Southwest Conference, not South Suburban.
Okay. I forget which one it was. I could be confused, but I remember Jason Berry's still around. He confirmed it was $1 million towards our $2 million match. Something was thrown around. This is a few years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago. And it'd be something to look into. However, if our match is $2 million, we would find the funding to do this eventually, different TIF or the business district or so on. I think we can find it to make it happen 5 years if we had chances to plan for it.
Okay, and I should clarify too. So the regional councils, it sort of gets into how the federal funding works, but the regional councils recently switched to active project management. So a lot of the older funding structures have kind of been wiped, and this is part of the reason we're talking about this now, is because we're trying to keep this project in that improvement program list.
Okay, thank you, Eric.
Yep.
All right, anything else? Is there if not, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion, Bilotto.
Is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Klinker. All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor of approving signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any nays, say nay. All right, guys have it, unanimous. Thank you. Moving on. Eric, one more item. This is intergovernmental agreement for 119th Place, Permeable Alley, and Bioswale. If you just wanted to explain a little bit of this. This is with the MWRD. Floor is yours. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Alderman. Yeah, this is the last project I've got on for tonight. And this is quite different project from the other two, which are federal highway projects. This is through the sewer district, the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Chicago. This is a grant that we applied for successfully in 2019 to reconstruct the 119th Place Alley and build a bioswale by the abandoned property near the 119th Street Metro Station. So we have MWRD grant money to do this project. There is a local match, and if you see the cash flow on this is a lot tighter time frame than the two federal projects. I would expect this to move a lot faster. But basically, this is a flood relief project in the northeast side. The total estimated project cost is about $280,000, and the local match is about $60,000 spread over the next year and a half. Yeah.
All right. Couple questions. I know the last time we did an alley project, there was issues with the contractor not connecting the aprons back to the alleyway. Are we going to make sure we avoid that so we're not doubling back after to make sure they're reconnected?
Alderman Donahue, we would do everything to make sure that the alleys got replaced up to the city right away, so within the city property. My recollection of those alleys in the last Green Alley project was a lot of them were alleys that were, I don't know how I should say it, but shifted at angles where the contractor couldn't work outside. These contractors typically can't work outside of city properties, even to connect up people's driveways. So I would expect, I know this is bad news or whatever, but I would expect there to be issues the same with this one. There would be, we would manage it as best we could, and we would definitely replace all the driveways up to the city property. But if there's driveways that are damaged past the city property lines, or that have weird angles that don't run parallel to the, that don't run perpendicular to the property line of the alley, it's quite likely that we would see those same issues.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
Hey, could I add
just,
one more thing I forgot to mention in my summary, Alderman, is this, so
Sure,
this,
go
this
ahead.
is again, thank you, sorry. This is something, again, I didn't mention. So this is unlike the other projects, this is a water sewer project. So that $60,000 local match doesn't come out of the TIF or the business district. We would imagine that it would be out of the water sewer fund.
Sure. It's flood relief, which is very important to that part of town. So I'm supportive of this. All right, any other questions?
Yeah, this is Alderman Johnson. On that
Alderman.
project, on that project, you said we have to match. Is that what you said? Stated.
Yes, Alderman Johnson, there is a local match for the project. It was written into the grant application. Luckily, about 30K of that local match has already been spent or done, or I don't know how I want to call it, because that was the demolition of that property that we're talking about using for the bioswale. But there's still a remainder of approximately 60K that would be needed to be committed.
Okay, and you said that was the asphalt is what, that permeable? Oh Lord, I can't pronounce it. Permeable asphalt, and that's supposed to help us with water, right?
Yes, Alderman. So this will either be permeable asphalt or permeable pavers, depending on the material cost at the time. We would prefer to do the permeable asphalt because that's what we already have installed. But if it was going to save, if it looked like it would be more economical to do the pavers. But you're absolutely right. So they're meant to slow down water from reaching the sewer by letting it percolate through spaces in the asphalt pavement rather than just running straight off into the sewer. And that's how they work. And I guess Alderman, I should point out too, so these green infrastructure projects, they're an incremental measure to solving the flooding problems in the Northeast neighborhood. It's not like they're going to fix it all up. There's a lot of work we got to do down there. It's just to help.
Alderman Donahue, one question he brought up.
Go ahead, Alderman.
Eric, you mentioned the pavers. Now, the city of Dubuque, which I spent a lot of time at, they redid all their alleys with pavers, these permeable pavers. And is there a big cost difference between, I'm assuming there's a cost difference. How big is the cost difference between the asphalt and the pavers? Because the pavers look 1,000 times better than asphalt. I'm sure they last a lot longer than asphalt. So is there roughly, let's say a square foot of asphalt is $5 a square foot and pavers are 10. Do you have something generic like that would answer my question on that?
I don't offhand, Alderman, but that's information I can definitely get. We've done tons of both types of projects, so that I just don't have it at the top of my head. But from my memory, not numeric, not quantitative, I remember the pavers being significantly more expensive. But I can quantify that for you for sure.
I know the life expectancy of the pavers are like 100 years, where the asphalt's 20 at the most or something like that. So it'd be nice to get that information because aesthetically, it's no doubt what looks better.
Right. I understand that.
Looks like Brick Street alleys, but they're all separated like in a ½ inch between all the pavers, and it looks really sharp when it's all done.
And that's another consideration, especially I think Jim's still on the call here. The other consideration is, in my opinion, and I would imagine that those small gaps between the paving bricks really require a lot of careful maintenance to keep those working the way they should be working, because that's what, instead of relying on a 14-foot wide asphalt alley and all the little spaces in between there, we're relying on a little 3/8 inch gap between each of the paving bricks. So that there's the maintenance consideration, but I could quantify all this for you and give you like a little breakdown, if that would be helpful.
It would be helpful for me and going forward, I think. Thank you.
Sure thing.
All right, anything else? No, all right. Is there a motion to approve item J, please?
I'll make a motion, Alderman Bilotto.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Alderman Alexander, all right. There's motion and second. All in favor of approving signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right, ayes have it, unanimous. All right, thank you, Eric. Haircut looks great, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Alderman Donahue. Thank you, committee.
All right, next, any Alderman concerns?
None here, thank you.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a
Klinker,
motion, Alderman Donahue.
Alderman Klinker with the motion, Alderman Bilotto with the second. All in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. We are adjourned at 7:01 p.m. We will be meeting next Monday, June the 22nd at 6 p.m. Here on the Zoom channel again. All right. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. Bye.